Sometimes the breakthrough you've been praying for is hidden in something people have been telling you for years. I found my purpose when I was 28, and before that, I had tried a lot of things, and I had failed at a lot of things. I am 31 now, but at 26, 27, and even 28, I genuinely felt behind. I would see people around me building careers, building businesses, building momentums. And I kept asking God, what is my thing? Because I just didn't want to survive. I wanted to build something that felt aligned, something that felt like mine. And I tried, I really did, but nothing stuck. But there was this one thing though, one thing that people kept saying to me over and over. Max, you are so good with your brows. Your brows are always perfect. Please do my brows. You should do brows. Oh my God, I cannot stop staring at your brows. And I used to laugh it off because in my mind, that was small. It wasn't a big dream and not impressive. I mean, it was just brows. But the compliment of what felt like a very small gift at the time, it never stopped. It came with different people in different seasons, but it was just the same words, and I kind of just was sick of it. Okay, let me just get comfortable. I don't normally do sit down videos, but I guess this one just needs me to be vulnerable at this point. But following up very, what's the word? What's the word? Like the very curated type of my story, or the very curated parts of my story. Now that I realize in hindsight that I think at the beginning of my career, I just started realizing that maybe what if all of that was just not random, because you cannot keep hearing the same thing and think it's a coincidence. Do you get me? And what if God was always repeating the same things with different people because I was not paying attention? And I don't want to lie to you, like I was not. I knew that I was good with my eyebrows. I knew that I was good just as much as I was good with doing makeup. I really used to be good at creative makeup, and I when it came to specifically brows, I just didn't think that was, like a niche. Like I just didn't think it was something for me to pay attention or just give it that much of my attention. But I remember there was even a day where, at my last job where I used to work at Cryolin Professional Makeup, I used to work with this girl, and for some reason we were talking about brows. Like, I don't know how the conversation started, but she ended up telling me a story of a girl that she used to work with at a different makeup brand or at a different store. So she said to me there was this girl that was really good with eyebrows. Um, People just really used to do her eyebrows. She was talking about makeup at this point because then, um, or before I started this whole thing, like I started knowing about eyebrow lamination and tints really shortly before I became an eyebrow lamination and tint artist. Like the minute I find out about it, I was on it. I enrolled in like an online school, but that was not the point of the story. So she ended up telling me about this girl that she used to work with. I think it was at Estee Lauder. She said there was this girl that I used to work with. She used to do people's eyebrows for 100 Rand. Um, until she bought a car. I remember just being inspired. Sorry, I was just checking the mic. I remember just being like so inspired by that story. I was like, oh my God, I want to be that girl. I want to be that girl that does people's eyebrows for 100 Rand and save up so much until I buy a car. Because now I have a car. Oh, God, it's great. And like I'm getting way ahead of myself. I do have a car now. God is good. And it was that opportunity. It was this opportunity of me becoming an eyebrow artist, and that allowed me that opportunity. Or yeah, that's crazy. I'm actually just thinking about it now that that dream actually came true. I did people's eyebrows until I was able to get myself a car. Damn, I'm realizing that for the first time. Does that make me okay? But I remember just being like very inspired by that story, and it never left my mind. And I'm pretty sure she even forgot. Her name was Elaine. It's funny that we didn't have a good relationship, but when I left, we were good because I bumped into her right after, I resigned and we chatted a bit. So it means we're good. We're good. Um, but I'm pretty sure she doesn't remember telling me that story. But it was a story that stuck. I was like, wow, I really want to meet that girl. And that girl was doing people's eyebrows like just makeup. It wasn't even something that stayed for long, like how my one is staying. My one can last up to a week to 2 weeks, 3, 4 weeks, depending on your obviously eyebrow type and skin type as well. But yeah, it was all now making sense. It was all now making sense, and I wish I did pay attention sooner, but I cannot beat myself up for that. It everything takes its time, everything takes its shape and form, and this is my story. I realized that, um, or I started drawing more into that when I was, later on in my life. And I'm always upset, and I'm always upset, but I do give myself grace. And even when I tell people this story, that I'm actually really upset that I found my thing when, like, in my late 20s, because I struggled so much in my early 20s. Um, I struggled a lot. I tried a lot of things. I was everywhere. Again, there was this girl that I bumped to when I was working at Nespresso in Gateway. Um, she saw me after she had seen me in a lot of places working. So she saw me there too, and she was like, "Oh my God, you are literally everywhere." That hurts my feelings. It really did. It really did hurt my feelings, and but she was right. She was right. I was everywhere because I was lost. But one thing, I didn't want to give up. I didn't. I had made a bet with myself that I'm gonna try everything because I wanted to learn onto something that I loved, and I love doing people's eyebrows. I love doing people's lashes. I love seeing how they light up when they get up and they see themselves in the mirror. They just like become this version of themselves you know, that is just impressed with themselves. And that's the reason why I do it. I may be doing lashes, I may be doing brows, but it is that moment, it is that feeling I get when they are just like, feeling good. They feel like the baddest version of themselves. They feel like they're ready to take on the world. They feel confident. And that's why I do it, I think. That's why I do it, you know. Um, Geez, I'm rambling. I wish I did make notes. But that is my story. That is my story. That and my faith, because also it is my faith that got me here. I remember I think it is somewhere in my YouTube where I talked about the story of Daniel and how I ended up, um, yeah, how is that like a very important passage of the Bible? I don't know. Like, sometimes it can be like too much. But the Daniel story is a very big part of my story of like how I encountered God in the purest form, in my life. Um, that was it was such a moment for me. The reason why I'm making this video and say you have to pay attention to what people say, to what people say you're good at, um, because that's a part of my story. I think that is something that you need to look into, pray more into. I really hope this video did something for you. And if you are feeling stuck, I invite you to just reflect. Just have a moment to yourself, a day, a couple of hours to yourself, and just sit um, and just reflect and think about those things that people have been saying about you, and even the things that you're good at. You that's my story, and that is something that I'll never stop speaking about. I listen a lot to what people say, especially when I'm praying, when when those are the kind of conversations that I'm having with God, because I feel like God speaks a lot to like the people that are around you. And even with this like new thing that I want to pivot to now, which is permanent makeup, permanent brows, it is something that I was praying a lot, um, praying about a lot. And that week, all of my clients were asking me, bro, why aren't you doing permanent brows? I kid you not. All of my clients would just come and say, dude, I will need you to go learn permanent brows because I want to do permanent brows now. So that is how I knew God was giving me a yes, a go ahead. So I'm inviting someone who is in my shoes, um, three years ago, or if you are looking for that sign, you are looking to do something for yourself and you're not sure, and you want to make sure that you pivot into something that is more purposeful, that is more, yeah, I think that's the word that comes in mind, that will give you more purposeful, fulfilling life. I'm just inviting you to reflect and think about those things that people that means well are saying more to you, and invite God, pray about it, meditate on it, and take action. If you feel that very intense feeling of do this, move swiftly as soon as you can, I promise you, you are going to land. So yeah, may you prosper and be in good health, and may the Lord be with you, bless you, give you a long life. Right, bye. All right, my loves. Before I close this video, I just wanna thank you for being here. And I just wanna make it known that in no way, shape, or form that I am where I wanna be. I still have a lot that I want to do, but the journey now than before is much more peaceful. You know, I move with grace, and there is no destination, there is no point of arriving. But if you are doing something that rests very well in your hearts, and that you know for sure that is your purpose in life. I really don't just want to play around with the word purpose, but I mean it is, if you are doing something that really sets your soul on fire, the journey is just much more playful, it's more fun. You play around with things, you just get so excited, and when you know and you know and you know because you've talked to God about it, and he has given you that yes and amen. The journey just becomes just like very beautiful. And the reason why I'm sharing this story, it is because I've been at a very survival mode of my life. Like I was just doing things and I was miserable, and I knew that there has to be more than this because I was just not happy. Even sometimes when I was doing things that I can do, at a point I was doing makeup and I was really good with makeup. At a point I was doing creative makeup and I was really good at doing creative makeup, but I was not happy. I was not. Um, I was just like always complaining. I was always sad. Um, and I couldn't even picture myself what it looked like when I when I gain a little bit of success. I just couldn't, my mind couldn't fathom, you know. But I was doing it, and it's no wonder why it was not working out, because even when I was in my influencer era, like I just wanted to become a content creator, um, it just couldn't align. It wasn't aligning with the type of person that I was. um I would just picture myself what I see most of the influencers do, and I wasn't really sure if, I like that, you know. And I don't know how to put it, but I couldn't really like visualize how my life would be, and it was scary, and not in a good way. But right now my dreams of growing within what I'm doing, they scare me very much, but in a more exciting way, like I get scared because I know that it's about to get good. So yeah, I just want to make it known that I'm no way, shape, or form where I want to be, but I am enjoying the journey. The journey is just, it's beautiful and it's worth it. And I'm glad that I kept chasing and chasing and chasing, because right now it's looking. I don't want to say a lot, but yeah. Thank you so much for being here, and yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.